Hello, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. I am so excited for this all-male guest panel for the first time in a new segment called Male Perspective. So, ladies, let's go ahead and get out our pens and papers and find out what these men got to say. I have two oldie but goodies on the line. First, we got Kelvin Carter in the building.
Hey, what's going on?
All right. And we also have Newman back, the bad guy. I'm kidding, Neil. We got Neil Newman, one of my faves. Oh, dang. You still not going to say nothing, Neil? You're not going to say nothing to the people? Did Neil get kicked out? Well, okay, well, I don't know what's going on with that. But hey, last but not least.
Dang.
Oh, you here now? Or what? Say something to the people,
Yo,
Neil.
I've been here. Yo, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right,
we can hear you now.
here. Yo, what up, people? Hello.
All right. And last but not least, I would like to welcome for the first time on God, Sex, and Love, none other than Mr. Ronyai Hawkins. Clap it up for him. Woo woo.
Appreciate it. Peace and love, everybody.
All right. So today the topic is men and emotions. Compliments of Mr. Ronyai Hawkins. He want to get y'all in y'all feelings today, gentlemen.
All right.
Okay, well, I know I got a few questions about this whole thing, but I don't know how y'all want to kick this off. How y'all want to kick it off?
Well, I would say let our brother go ahead and start this one off.
Okay, cool, Mr. Ronyai.
Okay. All right, y'all want me to start it off, man? All right. Well, let's do it like this. The reason why we are having this topic today is because I would say personally for the last 3 to 4 years of my life, I've been doing a lot of reflecting and also going back into my own family tree, having conversations with my father, my biological father, and the connection between him and his dad. What happened is that my father experienced some really crazy moments in his life. His dad left him when he was 9 years old. My father is the second oldest out of 8 siblings. Then we found out that the reason why my grandfather left them was because my grandmother was cheating on my granddad. So he took off,
Hello.
and then carried a suitcase with him, went to a nearby restaurant right there in the neighborhood, had a meal. Then he jumped on the Amtrak and went straight to New Jersey. Stayed there for the majority of his life until he got into his late 70s. And then he came back to Orlando, Florida, where he spent the rest of his days. Now, during that time frame, a young man like myself was thinking, well, maybe they have time now to actually sit down and figure out, well, can we patch things up? Can we heal? Because there have been a lot of unanswered questions. There's been a lot of things that have not been resolved. And also, if you really look at it, if you peel back the layers, there's been a lot of selfishness, but also bitterness, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That never happened. And because of that, that has actually affected my relationship between myself and my father. Now, I know this is the first time y'all actually are meeting me virtually and audibly, but just a little bit about my life. The reason why I got to this place was because I want to make sure that my future seeds don't have that same effect. And that's why you work on yourself, go through counseling, go through, I do different things, you know what I'm saying? I do prayer, meditation, I work out, I exercise, I love to run, you know what I'm saying? I was a former track runner, athlete, high school, a little bit of college, and then also, those are my go-tos. And also art for me is my channel, a way I be able to draw things out. I've made peace with a lot of different things between myself and my dad, but I noticed that there has been a lot of resentment on his end, not on my end, because I'm good. Thing is that if we don't talk about it and you just sit there and just keep going on and on and on without saying nothing, giving people the silent treatment, or you're just dodging the answers when a young man has questions from a father to son perspective, and if that man never gets those answers, he's going to go and find them somewhere else.
Right.
So I do that for my godson. I do that for, my nephews. I do that for, my brother's girlfriend, son, whoever the case may be, because again, you don't want them to follow suit in what you've experienced for yourself. And we have to remove the stigma over, well, men don't have emotions. We do have emotions. It's just a way that we communicate in a different perspective between male to female. Not saying that we don't
Mhm.
want to show them. It's the fact of like, well, am I comfortable enough to show this other side to you? Again, going back to the male female perspective. But this is a lot of work that I've done personally. One of my taglines that I tell people, even on my own platform, because I have a platform that deals with men and artists, I tell them reflection produces revelation. So when I reflect in my own time frame, these are the things that pop up in my head. And I say, let me go back and talk to my dad about this. And if he so chooses to answer my questions or not, that's not on my conscience. That's on his. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
But you get to the place where it's like, you know what? Whether if he doesn't answer me or not, I have to make peace with that. But then for me, myself and my divine relationship with my creator, that's who I go to get the answers. Why men do what they do. And it's not just with my father or my grandfather. I got uncles that are the same way, just like this, and other men out there as well too, that many of y'all have probably encountered. So we have to start the internal work ourselves. We have to get to that place of healing within ourselves. For it to be spread abroad, we got to work within ourselves first so that no one else feels those effects. It's not saying that we don't want to show emotion. It is not saying that we don't care. There's different love languages. Y'all are probably familiar with it. There's 5 different love languages. But at the same time, you got to make sure, like, listen, let me work on me first before I jump into any other relationship or friendship or whatever kind of courtship or ship period, whatever y'all want to do. This is how we move forward. So that's just a little bit of why the topic is here today.
Well,
Okay.
so gentlemen, Mr. Kelvin and Mr. Neil, with all that being said, question number one from a lady wanting to know about more about this from your perspective, friends. Uh, is it hard for you men to express your feelings, and if so, why?
Good question. You want to take that? You want to answer that first, Neil?
Has it been hard?
Honestly, well, can you hear me? Just doing a check real quick.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay. All right, cool. For me, it's not I say what has become difficult for me in regards to like expressing emotions, especially like then in relationships, is more of I feel like a lot of times women don't know how to receive, a man expressing themselves in regards to like their emotions and such. So I'm typically expressive. Like, yo, I don't really have a problem with saying like, hey, look, I'm sad, I'm hurting, or whatever the case is. But sometimes the reaction I get, it causes me to like close up a little bit because it's more of a, sometimes you feel a little bit of judgment, like, yo, well, men aren't supposed to be like this, men are supposed to be strong all the time, like men can't really express most emotions. If they do, they need to like channel that within like their brotherhood or something like that. So I think that's what, at this juncture where I'm at in my life right now, I think over time I've learned to like close myself up emotionally when it comes to women. And I don't express myself as much because it's like, you know what, you're not gonna get it anyway. So I just keep it to myself, or I go call up a brother or something like that and like talk to them about it. Because my father, like, he's not he he's not very expressive when it comes to his emotions. So
Right.
it's like, so I think I might be taking on a little bit of kind of like his ways a little bit in that sense. But it's all been because of like, okay, stuff I experienced over time, you know. But
Hmm.
that's where I'm at with it.
My goodness.
Okay, so I can say that I'm a bit closed off, and I could say it's um, mainly due to um, one that is just something that people may just not understand, or simply just not in the space of having that conversation at that particular time. Because not all things need to be discussed, I would say, unless it's some unless they're outside factor of what's going on internally. But sometimes if it's just a lot of stuff going on within yourself, then you need that space and time to work through those things before you have that conversation.
Hmm. Well, as a woman, I'm not going to put my, because obviously y'all feel like I'm emotional, so I ain't got to say nothing about that. But I would just say I try to be an open book with my husband, and so those are things that I want him to be with me. And I know I talk to him a lot about it all the time, and most of the time I feel like I just get this. Not say wall per se, but I get this silence. So I'm like, oh my God. Like he's like, why can't you just be an open book to me? I'm trying. Like you.
Uh,
Um, so I guess, obviously you three gentlemen have already kind of showed three different perspectives of how you guys have handled this stuff thus far, which I definitely feel like I'm learning at this point that of course all men are not the same, and everything like that. And so yeah, I mean, I guess my next question, because you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, is like, what can a woman do to help in regards to, maybe her man express himself more to her or something like that? Like, is there anything a woman could have in your cases or?
um, I would say the first thing would be to flip it. Like, what can I do? Type of question. So, like, what can I do to make you feel more comfortable and expressing your feelings, or what can I do to assist you in any type of facet, whatever they may need. So, do you need more time? Is it more space? Is it um, doing a particular thing? So, I would give that advice.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
The silence.
I don't really know what a woman can do. I mean, I guess I can sit back and say, I guess what I would hope they would do. I would hope that there'll be a little bit more understanding and know like, yo, you don't have to have the answer. Like you don't have to know what to do. Just listening and like being a part of the process of, what I'm saying, like whatever. Like being real, like, yo, I for like
Mhm.
over the last 10 years, like, yo, I kind of struggle with depression and anxiety and all that stuff. Like,
Mhm.
so quiet prior to the quarantine, I would see a therapist regularly who happened to be a female. But it helped because I was able to like just talk and express. And I'm expressing my feelings to a woman, and it's like, yo, it's a judge free environment. Like I can really just say how I feel and not feel like, yo, she gonna try to attack my manhood, or she gonna think I'm a punk or a simp or whatever, or take advantage of me. But like sometimes I think it's good for like, yo, just be a sounding board. Like just listen. Like you don't have to like fix anybody. Like I don't really think a woman can fix a man. I think men are fixed being around other men. You know what I'm saying? Or like God ultimately does the work. But like I
Mhm.
think like sometimes like I don't think there's a lot that a woman can do outside of like, yo, just be supportive, just listen. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like dealing with somebody with like any like form of mental health. Like a lot of times men would be like, oh man, that girl crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's wrong now that we think about it, because it's like, dang, yo, I struggle with mental health myself. So like, am I crazy too? Like, you know what I'm saying? So how can I judge people now? Like, how can I
Right.
say that about somebody else? And all I can do is just be like, yo, just be there to listen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't try to fix. Don't try to be like, yo, I can make everything better. Like, yo, sometimes listening and just being understanding and just doing simple things can go a long way with any man. Because men, in my opinion, like, yo, we deal with a lot of pressure. Like, we got to discover ourselves. Not saying that women don't have to do that either, but at the end of the day, like, the onus to lead a generation or the world or whatever the case is typically on men. And a lot of times, like, men are silent about like, yo, the suicidal thoughts, the depression, the anxiety, the fears that, hey, men don't cry. Like, yo, I cry. Like, it ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, it takes more courage to cry than to not cry. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I mean, overall, I would just say just being more, just listening and
Mm.
and just trying to understand, but not fix.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Well, I can't listen to silence, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about my particular situation. I'm a little, let me go get my husband right now. So how can I listen when you ain't talking?
That's right. Well, I want to jump in. I want to jump in for a second on that last comment my brother said as well, and that's very, very true. It's funny that he mentioned some of those components because here's something that I went through myself. Me identifying depression silently for over 10 something years, you know, and I thought that I was crazy or the only person that actually understood. And then when you find out that there are other people out there that think on the same wavelength as you do, you're like, that's relief for you. That's like a breath of fresh air. So I
Mhm.
totally understand what the brother is saying. Um, it's funny because in my moment of reflection, a lot of dots begin to connect. And the past relationships that I've dealt with, they all had one common factor, and that was pride, being hurt, sense of rebellion, and not willing to listen to what a man has to say. And that also stems from past relationships that the woman has been in because when she decided to give her heart to that person, that male figure did not take care of her heart with sincerity and generosity. And when that happened, then she became jaded.
Mhm.
So then when she detached herself from that relationship and now she's venturing on to a new relationship, now she don't know how to treat the man that's in front of her with respect, dignity, character, integrity, and a sense of pride on top of that. The good pride, not the negative pride, what I'm talking about. Now,
Mm.
as I began to connect those dots, then I understood where she was coming from because technically speaking, if we look at it from a spiritual perspective, we're here to serve one another. Yes, men are designated, we have responsibilities as being, head of the household, provider, a male figure, uh, a counselor in a certain way, and like a guidance for our seeds. Now, the thing is, like the brother said, it's good to just be quick to listen but slow to speak. And if you don't have the answer, just be present. Just be present. You ain't got to say nothing. Just you may
Mhm.
not understand the person's pain at that certain level, but everybody has a common denominator in this life, and that's pain. Everybody has experienced pain on some level there is. And even if you don't have the words to say, just be still. Your presence Being in front of that person when they're going through a trial, a test, or a situation speaks volumes before you even open up your mouth and engage.
Yep,
That's good.
that's true.
That's it. You know what I
That's
mean?
very
And
true.
with that being said, it's like again, men want to express themselves. It's because if we don't understand each other's trigger points, and if we don't create that safe space to say, "Hey, sweetheart, listen, let me share something with you, just in case if you don't know about me, this other side of me." If we don't if we don't create that space, then that's going to continue to becoming a problem.
Mm.
Yeah,
To do
that's
what?
important too. Like
Collectively come
creating that safe
together
space.
and be peaceful and harmonious, and to say, okay, this is our plans for the future because I see you in my future. If we don't create that safe space and that safe haven now amongst ourselves, then guess what? It's going to become a continuing toxic domino effect through everybody. Everybody in the house is going to be affected. How do I know this? Is because I watched my mother and my father go through it for 50 something years because the person
Mm.
wasn't there in presence. And it's like this is something else I learned over the years as well too. And just
If you like what you hear, then consider supporting our podcast. Every listener that supports us for $9.99 a month will be entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win a free gift. So become a supporter today.
my mom went to school at Tennessee State University for psychology. My brother went to school at Bethune-Cookman for sociology, and I went to school at Valencia College and UCF for communications. So everything was centered around the human experience of how to navigate and to deal with um, people's consciousness and also how the way humans interact with one another. So the point I'm saying is that just be present and don't be so quick to answer the person because sometimes when people engage and they talk, they sometimes regret certain things or certain words that they said to that person. A lot of times throughout the years, I've noticed even with family members as well, a lot of them are not fully listening nor are they understanding. Sometimes people will reply because it sounds good to them. They don't reply to get an understanding.
Mm.
And that can be a dangerous situation as well too. On
Mhm.
top of that, so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes wisdom is gained by just listening and understanding, having patience. So if we can practice that a little bit more with being patient with one another, even in our relationships, our friendships, family dynamics, things of that nature, if we can just practice patience more and just say, I'm here to just listen and process everything, then I think we could make some leaps and bounds in going in the right direction. Um, and that's just on a universal scale, but mostly I'm pinpointing it back to is the black community as well. Because we sometimes have a hard time of like really being okay to express ourselves and what we're saying, and it's real, it's true, it's authentic, because I ran into that many, many, many times. Even a just a simple conversation between a brother and a sister, between a male and a female. That sometimes there's a disengage going on. There's sometimes miscommunication going on, all because of what we've been through in our past. And we don't want to, it's not my place to judge anybody, not at all. But a lot of times we try to sit back and try to process everything on why that person went through what they went through and why they answered you in the way that they did. And then as I go back and reflect on it, then I get my revelation. And then I say, you know what? Okay, let me have a little bit more grace. Let me have a little bit more patience with this person because obviously it's not me. It's something that that person's been through. but then also being careful of not getting those triggers and those boundaries crossed or violated. If we can understand a little bit more, I think we can get somewhere in that perspective and have a more holistic and healthy relationships with people.
Mm.
Mhm.
So everyone concurs with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I agree, like
mm.
wholeheartedly.
Well,
Yeah.
I did think about another question to ask you all. I mean, I'm a mommy now, you know what I'm saying? So, how can I help my little man, feel like he can express himself so we don't have to, keep these things going? Let's break some curses here or whatever.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, it's a lot you can do, but I think it's a lot more like just the father can do. You know what I'm saying? Just having that open line of communication. Like, I and this is just my opinion. Like, I think the healthier your relationship is with your husband, it'll help foster kind of like that line. Him having a good open line of communication with his dad. I think that'll be the big turning point. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a great relationship with my mom, like both my parents, but it wasn't always like that. I kind of got to that level,
Mhm.
in my adulthood. So I think like even as an adult man, it's still like, me and my mom, we can talk about anything. And she probably
Mm-hmm.
knows me better than anybody on the planet. But I still got this kind of yearning to like, but dad, like, can we talk? Can I
Mm-hmm.
can I learn more about you? Like, can you ask me some stuff about me so it can help me understand things about me? Like, I can understand things about you. Like, and a lot of times we just want these answers. That's just like human nature, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it like it's just I think whatever you could do to kind of like get your son to kind of be able to express himself and get to know his dad in like different levels, and that could be like, hey, you and your husband, like, y'all two kind of like getting to that level where you're developing that safe space where he actually feels comfortable to talk to you about certain things that probably only men go through, that he probably usually only talk to men about, and things of that nature. And by him being able to do that, and that's open, then of course you're going to be open with your son. And then what I'm saying, your husband is probably going to be able to communicate better with his son, with y'all son, and vice versa. So I think that'll be, it's like a starting point, but of course
Right.
it's
Yeah.
a process. So I mean, I would just start
Mm-hmm.
small, baby steps.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely. Definitely. I agree with him as well. Always be transparent with your son. Never hold back, no information. And if you think that he may be too young to have, certain conversations, test him because that's what my mother did with me.
Mm.
Because I'm
Hmm.
for real, like real talk. Like, my mom would always tell me growing up, she'd be
Hmm.
like, I can't
Same
wait till
here.
you get grown. I can't wait till you get grown. I'd be like, why does woman want me to hurry up to get grown? I don't understand what you're saying. you know?
Right.
So, well, guys, I know we can go on and on and on about this. I think I just got one final question for you guys. And so I don't know. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. If there's one
Okay.
thing that you guys want to let the ladies know about men and emotions, now's the time. What is that you want us to know?
um, Let me just say simply that they are there. Um, Men do have emotions.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. Men, we definitely have emotions. And a lot of times, a lot of men are more emotional than women. They're a lot emotional than what women may perceive to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we express our emotions sometimes in rage, sometimes in violence, sometimes in just different physical natures. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something to be aware of. Like just because a guy might not be talking, like sometimes they might express, like men might express their emotions and just actions and on like how they might treat you, how they might move around certain people and do certain things. So a lot of times, like emotions are attached to that, and a lot of stuff is rooted in their childhood. Like, yo, you could always go back to like some dude did a study. He was like, yo, going back, like tracing all like societies, like ills and stuff like that, and they all went back to the father. So a lot of times that shapes the way a man expresses his emotions and the way he deals with life. And so I think is the male ego is extremely fragile.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not like you gotta, yeah, like you ain't gotta coddle a man, but you do gotta be mindful of like, yo, this is very important because you might be like dealing with a little boy who's in his second
That's
childhood
it.
at this point. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, that's what I got to say on that.
It's good. Mr. Ronyai, look, we scared to ask you this question. I was scared. What you got for us?
I would say, and then all my brothers did very, very well with answering that question, and it's very true. It's all true. I've seen it all in different perspectives. Um, I would say one thing I have learned over the years is dealing with certain relationships with women. Um, don't create unnecessary drama and arguments with that man just for you to see that he has emotions.
Mm.
Because
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
it's very, very,
Mm-hmm.
very, 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 very toxic. Please don't do that.
Mm.
Please don't do that. Please, I'm stressing this very, very seriously, but very carefully. And I love y'all, queens. I love you to life, but please don't do this. And if you're doing that, whoever's going to listen to this recording, if you're doing that, please stop now, because what you're doing is you're saying that it's okay for you to think that this is normal because your past relationships have taught you to argue with that man. Then, if I argue with that man, he'll show some type of expression or emotion that, yeah, that'll let me know that he loves me. No, that does not. No. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not boast itself. It's not puffed up. It's not pride. No, don't do that. This is the time now where you need to start creating healthy dynamics between you and that partner who you're choosing to be with. Yes, I want you to understand where I'm coming from, but but when you approach that man the same way that we approach women, we gotta be delicate. It's almost like with surgeon's gloves.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm letting you know I recognize your beauty, but I want to see the beauty in you. I want to see your heart. Because yeah, God created some beautiful women across this planet. Absolutely. But at the same time, I want to see your heart. That's something that my mom taught me a long time ago. Ever since I was 12 years old, ever since I was growing up, she's like, no, yes, they're beautiful, but treat them with respect. Always be a gentleman. So in my code and in my DNA, I'm always going to be a gentleman at the end of the day, regardless if you choose to be disrespectful to me or not. Understand that I'm always going to be a gentleman. That doesn't mean that you're going to walk over me like some kind of doormat. No, it means that I have enough respect for myself that I will remove myself out of the situation before you start creating unnecessary drama for me because I've seen it too much. I'm trying to heal.
Mm.
Mm.
Well,
So if we can get on that page, then hey, we can do something.
Manly.
oh, well, gentlemen, man, like, ladies, I don't know if y'all learned something today, but I sure did. I really thoroughly enjoyed this first male discussion the male perspective. I hope to have you all again and again and again, because I'm sure there's a lot for us to learn, ladies. Again, I don't know how many pages y'all wrote down, but I got a stack over here. Got some notes, some notes. But
Look, you got some notes.
got notes. I will see what I can do with my silent husband over here and my 1-year-old child. Oh, well, fellas, like again, I know I can keep talking to y'all, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that, but we won't hold the people up too much longer. I'll just say thank you so much for chatting with me today. Again, I'm looking forward to the next one and the next one and the next one. And yeah, ladies, those of you that are listening, you know, hey, let's just let all this soak in. This is our time to drain the male vein. Crap, I said it wrong. Drain the male vein.
Okay.
Mr. Ronyai screwed it up. The
male brain.
Drain
Brain. The brain. There we go. Yeah. That don't even sound good. But yeah. Okay. we get it though. We get it.
Well, I mean, well, hey, guess what? This is God's sex and love.
That's right.
Until next time, y'all. Thank you guys so much. And I'll be talking to you. I will be talking to you guys real soon. All right. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me as well.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Bye.